You comfy?
Yeah. Why?
It sounds like you're sitting on your laptop like you're laying down in bed, and I just hear you
I am
shifting.
laying down in bed.
Alright. That's fine, I guess.
What am I supposed to do?
Use a desk.
There's cookies all over my desk. I can't.
Alright.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, alright, we're going to start the video. Hello, Ace Combat community. I recently posted a survey to the Ace Combat 7, just the Ace Combat subreddit regarding Ace Combat 7. I noticed that the vibe around Ace Combat 7 seems to be very mixed, and a lot of people are speaking on the audience's behalf, but the general phrasing that people have to say about the game is polar opposites and everything in between. So I put up this survey to see what the community really thinks of the game from a purely statistical point of view from about 100 people. You can see here that I use SurveyMonkey. Unfortunately, I only use the free version. I don't have much money to go spending on random services online, and there's a limit of 100 respondents of the 114 that took place. Bit of a disappointment that we can't get those extra 14 people's opinion. However, 100 makes each vote equals 1%, which makes math kind of easy. Anyway, I'm here with my brother Nolan. Say hi.
Hello.
He is here to provide a second opinion. We are both pretty well-seasoned veterans of the Ace Combat games, so we know a thing or two what we're talking about. Our first game was Ace Combat 4. We got that probably around the time... We started playing it really probably around the time Ace Combat 5 was released. We were just too young to know about it, right?
We got it for Christmas one year.
Yeah, and we were youngins. We were real youngins, but since then we've played... I can speak for all of us and say that we played 4 in its entirety, 5, 0, Assault Horizon, both PlayStation Portable games. I played Joint Assault a little bit more than Nolan. Nolan played Skies of Deception a little bit more than me. And we've also finished Ace Combat 7 a couple times over, right?
Yes.
We played through the campaign a few times. So we know a thing or two what we're talking about. Nolan and I did vote, so I didn't think that there was going to be this many respondents, so thanks to all those 100 plus people who did partake in it without being asked by family members. Without it, getting into the data, I want to set some ground rules. Number 1, all data is fair data. And I'll get into what I mean by that later, but basically, you good? Nolan?
Yes.
Alright. Basically, every opinion is a valid opinion, and especially you'll see later on just how much varieties there are for opinions. So if you're going to leave a comment, don't leave it because you disagree with someone. Be productive, be civil. And without that, the first question is just asking the respondents what type of people they would describe themselves as in terms of Ace Combat familiarity. And we start off, Nolan actually hasn't seen this data. This is your first time seeing this data. I've pretty much been refreshing the page all weekend. So we can see, Nolan, how well can you read this text, by the way?
I can read it.
Good
It's
job.
fine.
Alright. You can see 79% of people are veterans of Ace Combat. Now, whether or not that speaks for how many new people, or this is their first Ace Combat game that they've ever bought, or if this is like something that, maybe they bought a recent game, or maybe they're just, dipping their toe in the pool. Either way, I can't speak for that. All I know is that the people who responded to this survey were veterans. Maybe they're just fans who wanted to make their point heard, but other than that, 16 people said they were familiar, so they've probably played a game or two, and 5 people said they were new. Now, this is what I mean when I say every valid is a valid opinion. I can go into individual responses, and I can see everyone in the 100 people who partook in the results here. And let me make a point here. I was not respondent number 1. I was respondent number 2. Obviously these are anonymous surveys, but this is respondent number 1. He's not a veteran. He's just kind of familiar with it. And I applaud this guy. He didn't know much about the story, but he still partook in the survey, so he cares about as much as the game as anybody else. So if you want to, if you want to leave a mean comment, you gotta back yourself up and really stand your ground and make
If you
sure
want
that
to leave a mean comment, call out respondent number 1.
There you go. Respondent number 1.
It's all on you.
This is on you. All right. Anyway, you can see that the majority of people here, they have a working familiarity with Ace Combat. Question number 2. I felt the story was outstanding, nearly flawless. 9 people voted for that. Good overall, but there's details I didn't like. 55%. More than half. Not bad, but didn't meet my expectations at 22. Subpar 9. Too confusing to be functional, 3. And 2 people left an other response, and I can go ahead and view those responses here. One guy said, meh, no character development, missions 10 to 15 was pretty dead. One person says, didn't finish the campaign yet, taking my time. On one hand, I do want to feel like this guy, a part of me says, don't include this guy's opinions since he hasn't finished the game, but I already made my ground rules. Nolan, do you have any thoughts on the story? What did you vote for?
I voted for nearly flawless.
Really?
Yes.
That's right. When we got the game on opening day, and the night we finished it, you were applauding the game in just about every way, shape, and form. Is that right?
Well, there's definitely some parts of the game where it's a little slower. That's why it's nearly flawless, but the end of the game really pulls it together, I think.
Right. I think I voted for not bad, but didn't meet my expectations. I don't know, just something about the way I was when I was watching the trailers, I was getting a totally different vibe from what we got. Maybe I was expecting Holy Trinity levels of writing and performance. Then again, that's a pretty high expectation, and they were certainly doing some weird things with the Ace Combat 7 marketing regarding kind of... Would you agree that they were trying to pander to a less familiar audience?
Well, they always are. They're trying to expand the community.
Right, but take a game like Zero. That is a prequel game that's basically drawing people in as like, remember the game before this? This is for you people. This is a game for you. Ace Combat 5 was totally wild and out there, not really pandering to an audience to really get them invested. But then again, you could also argue that, the Holy Trinity was kind of the birth of the Ace Combat genre, and you just have to establish the world. You can't worry about getting audience. You just have to keep establishing more and more. Anyway, the general average from the community, they said that it's good overall, which is fine. I think we can move on from that. This is the first really interesting question. New special weapon quality. And basically, from left to right is increasingly good statistics. You can see the colors down here. Green is bad. Dark blue is forgettable. Yellow is useful on paper, but not in practice. Light blue is functional, but a bit frustrating. Orange is acceptable. Purple is good, but needs tweaking, or it's not for me. Pink is outstanding, and this tan is too good to be passed up.
Alright, so was this for multiplayer or single player?
I kind of wanted it to be for single player, but there's definitely variations for... Let's be realistic here. Single player and multiplayer weapons are two totally different beasts. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, can you look at high power AA?
It's right here on the top.
Too good to pass up?
Too good to pass up is 1.
That's me.
Alright, Nolan, do you want to describe how you use high power AA in multiplayer?
I thought it was for multiplayer, and I just fly right up behind people and blow them up.
Because it's almost always a one-shot kill, and you also have upgraded it to be...
Kill.
You've also upgraded... So it's more powerful than the railgun in some cases.
Yes.
So anyway, you've also upgraded it to have max homing and max flight speed, right?
Speed and max power, everything. It's just maxed out.
Yeah. Anyway, how do you feel about high power AA in single player?
Oh, well they're pretty close, except other weapons would probably be better, because the AI. It's not a real person in there.
I think high power AA, I think I labeled it kind of not for it's useful on paper but not in practice. And here's why I say that. Rarely do you need to really whack an enemy aircraft in it, an enemy AI aircraft. In multiplayer, yeah, sometimes it takes like 5 standard missiles to kill a guy, and you really just want him done here and now. But other than Tu-160s and MiG-31s, I really don't think high-power AA has a place.
A-10s, Su-34s.
Yeah, like but they're not really
good on
prevalent.
technology.
I don't think they're really prevalent enough to warrant, them being there. Like, you might as well just make, every special weapon a one-hit kill. High-power AA is just kind of a weird mix between what, the 4AM and the SAAM and the hypervelocity. Not as fast as hypervelocity, but has better tracking than SAAM, you could argue.
Alright, let's move on to SASM. It's new to the series.
Yeah, well, these are all new to this. All these weapons are new to the series. These are only new or, newly classified special weapons. Like, you could argue that, like, high capacity was, like, lightweight standard missiles in the PlayStation Portable games, or I think it's only in Joint Assault, but we're just gonna buzz past it and call it a new one. You can see that, for the most part, the AA weapons are acceptable, but nothing more than acceptable. How did you feel about? I want to know how did you feel about LAAM, the really, really long-range air-to-air. I was kind of confused on it at first because I just kind of wanted it to be more than 2 shots, but I think it actually has its place.
I would put acceptable.
Acceptable? Why would you not call it better than acceptable?
Just because I was thinking about multiplayer.
Okay.
And it's pretty easy to dodge them if you hear the missiles fire and just start turning.
Right. Anyhow, SASM. You wanted to talk about SASM. When I first launched Ace Combat 7 and I saw this new special weapon on the F-16, I saw, oh, it's a crutch in case you miss your target. I thought, oh, I'm never going to use that. But I used it just for, just to check it out, and I think it's actually very practical. What do you think?
When I first flew, I used the F4, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the first mission was air-to-air, so I'm like, alright, I guess I'll try these out. And they are amazing in every way.
Amazing in every
You
way.
don't even need to hit their target to do damage.
I mean, obviously they have damage drop-off, but for a special weapon, pretty effective. Certainly, if anything, we can't deny that they're certainly special. All right.
They're really good multiplayer, too.
Ground rockets. I actually, about an hour ago, just got off Ace Combat 7. I was playing the Fleet Destruction mission. I decided I'm going to use the F-104 because I think this is like the only type of mission where the guided rockets are acceptable. Is if you really want to pound a ship. Now, it actually is. If you have a very dense cluster of targets, something like an Aegis vessel or the aircraft carrier, it's pretty effective. It's good at dishing out heavy amounts of damage and even getting through the Sea-Wiz defense systems of the Aegis vessel. But when it comes to ground pounding in general, I think I'd just rather have rockets. If I wanted a dense cluster of explosions, I'd bring a bomb or 4 AGM. If I wanted a widespread free aim target or variation of explosions, I'd just bring the A-10 with standard rockets. What did you think of ground rockets, Nolan?
I have not used them yet. I'm not a big fan of the F-104. If I need rockets, I'm using the A-10. That's just how it goes.
I think this is also a good point to mention that, Nolan, you are in Air Force ROTC, and your dream job is to be an A-10 tank buster, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. A little bit of character there. How do you feel about AGM? Because this is the one I really wanted to talk about.
I did not like it.
This is, without a doubt, the most controversial weapon on this list. It has hit pretty much every vote almost in a perfectly balanced way. Many people say it's on the better half of good, but at the same time, many people also say it's bad. I think I called it acceptable. I liked that, in something like when I like those dense ground missions, and I just like to send out a big salvo of weapons that just smash up the environment. But I do recognize that, the fact that it almost always launches 8 at a time, unless you're really fast on the trigger, it's kind of silly. How do you said it was bad?
Yes.
Yes. You have an opinion on that?
No.
No?
Just kidding.
Just, okay.
I was using the Typhoon,
All right.
and I thought they would launch individually if you weren't locked on to separate targets, or more than 8 targets. Less than 8 targets, I mean.
Oh, yes,
But
that is an
it
important
launches all 8
factor,
at
is that
once. I
it...
did not like that.
Also, the fact that it double locks onto targets.
Yeah.
Along with ADAM, I feel like ADAM is even worse because air-to-ground targets, they're easy money. Air-to-air targets, you actually need skill to, and, your special weapons are precious. You don't want to just go spamming them out there. So when you're really trying to line up just a couple targets and all 8 go out and you're out of salvos in a couple shots, that sucks. How do you feel about the air-to-air version? Worse or better?
It's kind of better for certain missions. It's situational.
Situational. That's fair. Railgun, I think that everyone can agree that Railgun is without a doubt the prettiest and most unique of the new weapons. How do you feel?
I thought it was in previous games, but
Was it?
I thought it was in Ace Combat 6, but we didn't get to play that.
That's a good... Yeah, we didn't mention that. Neither of us have played Ace Combat 6. We just been PlayStation owners, never owned an Xbox.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Pulse Laser, how did you feel about the Pulse Laser over the TLS?
Gun pods are better.
Gun pods are better.
They fire faster. It's less chance to miss your target.
Also, you have a much higher ammo count.
Yeah.
XSDB. Now, this is only available on the F-22, and I describe it as kind of a crossover between 4AGM and precision bombs. How do you feel about this? Because I feel like a lot of people have said... When looking at, tutorials on how to S-rank all missions, a lot of people would just recommend take the F-22 with XSDB.
Well, yeah. That's how, I got probably most of the aces in the game.
Really?
If I didn't get them, just by playing the game, then I would go back and use the F-22 with that loadout.
Alright, so it's good, but do you think it's too good?
No, it's a single-player game. It's supposed to be too good.
Alright, that's fair. Alright, let's move on. These are the just numerical statistics, individual votes, but it pretty much shows you in here. How do you feel about single-player parts? I felt like this was an important one to mention because this is really the first... This is, in fact, the first canon Ace Combat game.
X.
Oh yeah, only on special planes. This is the...
Sure
No, I was playing Ace Combat X. Well, X2 isn't canon.
Oh yeah, that isn't in Strange Reel.
Yeah. Anyhow, most people would say, I welcome the feature to modify my plane's performance. Like Nolan just said, it's a single-player game. You should be able to have fun how you want. On that note, I do want to say, Project Aces, please make the level 2 and higher upgrades available in single-player, specifically for that reason. I like games like Metal Gear Solid 5, where I can upgrade my hardware to an inappropriate level just for my own fun. If I don't want to upgrade that high, I don't have to. If I want to downgrade, I can. But please make that happen. I want, because this is why I included the yellow option here. Often change too little to be bothered with. I feel like the level 1 upgrades when compared to some of the higher ones are just... Please. Nolan, you love your A10. How much would you like to increase your level 1 gun power upgrade to level 2? You'd probably pay money to do that.
I'd buy a new game to do that.
Yeah, this is just how video games are supposed to feel, which is why I included the dark blue option here. They're good, but I feel like it breaks the way Ace Combat should play/feel. And I sympathize with that because if you're flying, say, the A-10, you should sacrifice speed for defense. Some people might not feel that it's right to strap on every single engine upgrade and end up with a Mach 2 performance A-10. But like Nolan said, it's a single-player game. I would still say I welcome the feature to modify the plane's performance. I don't have to equip parts if I don't have to. Also, 5 people said that they're annoying, out of place, and clearly just a way to make the tech tree look like it has more content. Let's be honest, there's a shortage of aircraft, and adding more parts doesn't make us forget.
What I would say is that I kept using the same parts on every single plane, no matter what, because certain parts were just better.
That's a good point. Certain things like the Queen's custom upgrade, I equipped just because it made me feel like closer to the story. It made me feel like the characters are involved.
And also it's the best part in the game.
To be fair, that's true. It doesn't. It's one part that improves everything in terms of performance.
Does the same. The ECU thing does the same thing, but less.
Okay. Anyhow, we can move on. Unlockables, skins, nicknames, and emblems. Anything that isn't just, something that you can buy off the tech tree. What do you say, Nolan?
There needs to be more.
Needs to be more.
I think that's going to come with the DLC. It should be free DLC, I think.
You think that, well, considering that it's a season pass, you'll think that it's free in a way, but,
Well, not everyone got the season pass.
That's true. What did you rate the current unlockables that are available?
I'd give it probably a B.
Dummy. There's options here. Almost all of them are special and cool.
Mostly good.
Mostly good?
There's 5 categories. A B is a 4 out of 5.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for doing the math on that. Anyway, mostly good. I think I said they were average. Like, stuff like the nicknames and the emblems, especially in single player, they just don't really have a place, especially nicknames. Unless...
The only problem I had was the 4, 5, and 6 skins are all the same thing. Like, if I wanted that, then I could just put the emblem on, and it would look the same as the Ocean skin.
In case you're forgetting, the skin 4, 5, and 6 are always the mage skin, which I find is weird because I don't even think I saw the mage emblem on the mage skin. Number 2 is Spare Squadron, the painted on 3 stripes, and number 6, I think I said number 2 for that one. Number 5, also why I don't like it, is that the order is totally bonkers. Skin 3 is the first one you encounter in the game, Skin 4 is the second one, and Skin... Wait, did I get this?
6.
No, wait, no.
4, 5, and 6.
Skin 1 is the default Ocean skin, you can strap on any emblem to it. Skin 2 is the Erusian, Skin 3 is Special, Skin 4 is Mage, Skin 5 is Spare, Skin 6 is Strider, Skin 7 is something special, probably God tier. That's a good way to put it. If you have the pre-order bonus, you know what we're talking about. But something like Strider Squadron, like the difference between the Spare and Strider Squadron skin. Yeah, there's a thematic change there, but should it really be its own different skin? Like, on top of that, I don't like how changing emblems, you either change the emblem of the whole plane, or, you leave it blank. I'd like an option to have a wing emblem, a nose emblem, and a tail emblem. Just like if you use the Mage, Spare, or Strider skin, the nose is something different, the wing is something different, the tail is something different. That's just my own 2 cents. The skins, overall, the quality is kind of eh. Our younger brother Grant, he's in school right now, so he can't partake in this little call, but I will speak on his behalf here and say that he did not like how all the Erusian skins were just camouflage. And he's got a good point. Almost every single Erusian skin is just a camo pattern. And some of them just aren't worth it. It doesn't have to be a camo pattern. You can have pinstripes. You can have a flat color. It doesn't... It's weird, in a way.
I don't get why they got rid of the custom skin option from Ace Combat Assault Horizon.
Yeah. I will actually say one of the few reasons why you would still own Assault Horizon is because customizing your own skin is probably one of the funnest things ever. Just having, if you want a bright pink F-22, it's a single-player game, dude. Nothing's stopping you. If you want to have a rainbow A10, there's nothing stopping you. It's a single-player game. The feature's there. Why did they strip it away? Don't ask me. But
probably a data limit.
Data limit, possibly. Moving on, unlockables overall, they're alright. Single-player character quality. This is, without a doubt, the most interesting statistic in the game. Now, right now, this might be a bit weird because I included everyone's call sign and it kind of got jumbled up in the graph here. But overall, the higher up is the more to the right that people rated the character, and more to the right is generally, I consider it a better way to rate the character. From left to right, we have forgettable, very low quality, annoying, passable and or missed potential, above average, and loved with a passion. Anyway, I put forgettable at the very bottom because I feel like having a forgettable character is almost worse than a low quality or annoying character. At least if you're annoying, people remember you. I'll say I follow an Ace Combat memes page on Facebook, and he made a post that said, "Who has the worst voice acting in all of Ace Combat history?" And almost unanimously in the comments section, people were saying, "This is the Naiad!" A reference to Ace Combat X. And as I'm reading this, yeah, it was kind of an annoying voice, but I remember that. So I put forgettable way lower on the graph because even if you're annoying, people will remember you and sometimes even like you because you're annoying. Anyway, first character you meet in the game other than Trigger is Clown, also known as Mage 1. I was shocked to see that 43 out of 100 people said he was forgettable. He's actually according to the survey, he was one of the most forgettable characters in the game. I really liked him. I thought, like, he was smooth, he was cool-headed, a little bit funny. I didn't like that in the first mission he kind of told you what to do, but it really didn't matter. Moving up, but Nolan, what do you think of your first wingman in Ace Combat 7?
Time to get wet, wild, and do dirty, dirty things.
I loved that quote. It's like flying into Mission 3, he's like, what was it? Cyclops Squadron? Or Golem Squadron? Cyclops, yeah, no, it was Golem Squadron. Golem Squadron, thank your lucky stars. It's like just the way he said thank your lucky stars and let's get wet, wild. Trigger, let's show him that we can do wet, wild, and do dirty, dirty things. He's cool-headed, but he's also funny in a suave in a funny kind of way. I'm surprised that 43 people said that he was forgettable, because if anything, I think he's probably one of the best parts of the first 4 missions. Moving on, Golem Squadron, that was Knocker and Brownie, and then when Brownie gets shot down, spoilers, a person named someone takes his place. I forget his name, because he didn't even have a picture, whereas Brownie did. I thought Brownie, I was kind of sad to see her die, but Nolan, you said that you didn't care. You didn't care about Golem Squadron.
She was annoying.
She was annoying. I thought it was kind of almost like the mom on the battlefield. Like, she was a little bit worried about civilian casualties. She was tough, but not too tough. Anyway, this is probably one of the most important characters. If there's anything that makes a good story, it's the fight that the story players go through. Mihai is the main antagonist. How did you feel about Mihai, Nolan?
I put loved with a passion.
31 people did. 32 people said he was above average. Not able to be loved, but pretty close to loved, I guess. More people, though, said he was above average than loved. 27 said he was passable or he missed potential. 4 people said he was forgettable, interestingly enough. I didn't think he was forgettable. 3 people said he was very low quality. I was kind of expecting more from a guy who used to be a king. I will give them credit there. 3 people said he was annoying. To be fair, his tone kind of changes a lot. But then again, I guess that is to be expected from a guy who used to be a king and is fighting for a new nation. Prince, I guess, yeah. But regardless, yeah, his tone is kind of up and down.
I think during the middle of the game, some people might have been kind of not paying attention to the cutscenes as much.
Potentially.
But,
we can't really speak on that behalf, can we?
Yeah.
Dr. Schroeder, the, again, spoiler. If you're watching this video, I don't know why you're watching, because obviously spoilers, but... The Belkin in hiding researcher, how did you feel about him?
I forgot. I took this like a week ago. It was like either passable or above average, one of the two.
Nolan, I made this survey 2 days ago.
Oh. I've been busy.
Anyway, passable. Yeah, I didn't like that he was Belkin. I feel like the whole Belkin subplot was just...
I like that.
Unnecessary. Yeah, me and Nolan had a big debate over whether or not it's cool or not, but... Anyway, he was passable. He was fine. Count, I guess you would call him your main wingman. How do you feel about Spare 2?
Love Count.
I thought he was above average. I didn't think he was lovable. Like, I really didn't know his crime. His tone is kind of all over the place, and that little fake death scene at the end I thought was stupid. How do you feel about Tabloid, Spare 11?
I didn't like him. I put annoying.
Didn't like him, really. I thought, based on the trailers, I really thought that Tabloid was going to be your number 2, your wingman. Because he's featured in a lot of the cutscenes. He's kind of got this stupid smile on his face all the time that Avril actually mentions in a cutscene. And he actually is he likes Trigger. Count is a little bit annoyed with Trigger at most times. Only until like the last third of the game does Count really start to get accustomed to Trigger being around. But Tabloid, I knew what his crime was, other than like Count's crime was fraud, and we don't really get into it other than mentioning it once or twice. Tabloid's crime was anarchy. And from cutscenes, we know that, okay, he got a little bit loud and got arrested for it, so now we know why he's in jail, other than just he's an anarchist. At least he's not like a terrorist or something like that. Anyway, I thought Tabloid was adorable in his own stupid little way. I really wish that he was the wingman, and I'm really sad that he died at the very end. Full Band. The last of Spare Squadron to die under Spare Squadron organization. How did you care about Full Band?
I love Full Band.
I thought he was good. He seemed smooth and suave, and I didn't see why they needed to kill him off either.
It was part of the band dog I decide when you die.
Yes, but we do know that during Mission 9, and by the way, I hate Mission 9, Nolan thinks it's fine, but it's my most difficult mission. Just goes to show how crazy this game is for opinions. But regardless, multiple times AWACS says to stop talking about the intel he's stolen, and when Full Band says, in this war, intel is a life or death matter, I feel like it's not said, but Bandog kind of realized, okay, this guy is a
problem.
He's a problem. He's getting into too much intel. He's going to be a problem. We got to kill this guy. Problem is they never said anything about it. Whatever. Champ, I thought he was just annoying. I feel like we can just walk right by him. 4 people said he loved him, though, so... I feel like there was nothing much to him. He's just kind of loud and obnoxious. High Roller was my least favorite of Spare Squadron. How do you feel about the gambler, the one that died in the second mission?
I put Missed Potential.
Missed Potential? I did not like how often that he talked about gambling, which I found was totally jarring considering how rarely the other prisoners talk about their crimes.
I did like how after he died in whatever mission that was in the desert.
Full Band.
I don't know the number.
Right, it's the one right after 444. 6. That's mission 6.
All right. So it was Full Band. This is why I put Love with the. I'm pretty sure I put Love with a Passion or above average.
Okay.
He was like, what did he say? He was like, want to make a bet on
something.
Yeah.
And then he said that's what that gambling nut job would have said if he was still here.
Yeah. That one, I was like, that was actually kind of funny.
And it makes sense. A prisoner joking about another prisoner's death. He really doesn't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, Princess Rosa Cassette Delise. She was featured very prominently in the advertising for this game. And yet, if we looked at the love with a passion category here, only 5 people said they loved her. 24 said she was above average. 45 said she was either passable or she had missed potential. 8 people said she was forgettable. 13 said she was annoying, and let's be honest, in the last couple missions, her writing just kind of falls off the radar. I remember at one point, when Avril was talking to all the refugees, she said, "Get ready to see a real live princess. Say hi, Cassette." And she says, in a nervous tone of voice, "Yes." Like, you're the princess of a nation. You've made public addresses before. The war's been going on for a while, and when someone says, "Say hi, princess," yes. What?
I think it was because she was in a different cutscene. It was like she was nervous because people knew kind of the war was her fault.
Oh, that's a good. That is actually a good point. She was, when she was shot down over Tyler Island, or crash landed on Tyler Island, Eurasians were shooting at her, and and again, probably that's something that wasn't stated in the game, but I guess we were supposed to assume it. She was kind of nervous about being public, which is fine, but I wish it was described better. Avril, the scrap queen. 4 people forgettable, 3 people low quality, 12 people annoying, 34 missed potential, 20 people loved her. I thought she was all around an alright character. I just wanted to see more of her. I said in the final mission, I wish I saw her flying. What do you think of the scrap queen? Kind of, I guess we would say the main character.
I thought she was kind of annoying.
Kind of annoying, huh? Want to go into it? Want to elaborate on that?
I was looking at something else. Let me look at the poll real quick.
I will say that,
yeah, there was
when she's in the...
Maybe it was like... I felt like, definitely in the beginning, the opening cutscene, that was too long. That's probably why a couple people put annoying.
I didn't think the opening cutscene was too long. I felt like actually the middle of the game cutscenes with Avril was kind of where she gets annoying. Like, her writing just... It almost feels like she's writing in a diary, and she has no structure to what she's writing, and sometimes it just feels like she's rambling. Alright. Vincent Harling, the ex-president who Trigger absolutely murked. Definitely happened. 4 people loved his presence. 44 said it was passable or missed potential. 25 said forgettable. Overall, he's kind of he's in a weird spot on the board.
I put Loved with a Passion.
Why is that?
Maybe that had something to do with Ace Combat 5, but I feel like Ace Combat 7 definitely brought that game in a little bit and had some character development on what they ended up doing.
I think I voted low quality. I just feel like Ace Combat 7 kind of reached into the Ace Combat 5 reference bucket a little bit too often, and maybe I wasn't a fan. I will say the manner in which he died when Avril and Princess talk about Harling's mirror, I thought that was pretty cool, actually. How do you feel about Harling's mirror while we're talking about Harling? The idea of he was going back to the space elevator for some reason, but the reason is just kind of a reference on your own emotions toward war in the space elevator, and whether or not he was going back to defend the space elevator so Osea wouldn't shoot at it anymore, or whether or not he was trying to blow it up himself because he realized the chaos that he brought. How do you feel about the idea of Harling's mirror is just his actions are a matter of interpretation, and that interpretation is solely based on what you would do in that situation?
I thought that was good, not great.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. Good. It was a fun idea, but let's be honest, there's a plot hole. It's like, okay, but what if we were just assuming what Harling did? It's not really... If you know Harling's personality, it's not really your personality looking in the mirror. Anyhow, Soul Squadron excluding Mihai. How do you feel about the Soul Squadron when they're not, when we don't have the main character. The supporting cast, if you will.
I've put Missed Potential.
Missed Potential?
It's like their great value Yellow Squadron is what I thought of them as.
Great value. And for those of you who don't go to Walmart, I guess, great value is the Walmart brand, not outstanding value. Anyhow, I probably agree with that. They could have been more, but they were fine the way they are, I guess. Wiseman, Cyclops 1. 21 people said they loved him with a passion. 43 said he was above average. I thought he was actually pretty annoying. I did not like Wiseman. I thought he was the token black guy, like a drill sergeant in a war movie. He's loud, the leader, had to die, of course. Like I said, he's just stereotypical token black guy. I feel like he was kind of annoying. I didn't like Wiseman.
I loved Wiseman.
Why did you love Wiseman? Tell me. Because a lot of people, I really didn't expect this many people to like Wiseman.
When I played the game, since I do like Air Force art, he kind of reminds me of like the Air Force veteran kind of vibe.
Air Force veteran, kind of the guy who's like...
I thought they nailed the character.
He's good at his job, and he's kind of a bit arrogant about it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what you get with a lot of Air Force pilots sometimes.
The rest of Strider Squadron. Okay. The rest of Strider Squadron, starting with Skald. 54 said he was forgettable. I'm pretty sure he's the most forgettable character on this list. And let's be honest, yeah.
That last category, oof.
What? Oh, no, yeah, no one loved him. No one loved him. Nobody could fess up and say, yeah, I liked Strider 2 when Count wasn't Strider 2 or whatever. He was just... No, wait. He's not the number one most forgettable character, I don't think, but we'll get into that. Jaeger, the one with the boy, the one with the son. He's a storyteller. I think that's the biggest meme around him, is because that's... out of nowhere, he just starts referencing that he's going to start telling stories to his son, and a lot of people... I don't know, a lot of people thought it was funny. I thought it was pretty annoying because he kept talking about it. How did you feel?
If you pull up the Ace Combat subreddit right now, the number 3 is...
I'll post a picture of it here for the viewers.
It says, so I just finished the campaign and I have to say,
right.
This will be a great story to tell my son.
Yeah, it's like, whether or not you think it's good or bad, you have to admit, everyone remembers that Jaeger's got a son who he tells stories to, apparently. How do you feel about Hujin, Strider 4? I thought she was probably the best of Strider Squadron, other than Count. Like, she was kind of tough, not obnoxious about it, though. A little bit loud sometimes, but overall, I thought she was fine.
I put Missed Potential. There was definitely, like, the mission with the castle. She was like, you take if you want to live. That's where it was, where I'm from. And then it's like, well, where are you from?
Maybe just a bad part of town. I thought it was kind of weird that, at the same time while she was saying things along the lines of, you take what you take if you want to live. That's how it was. And then as they go into town, they're like, oh man, this sucks. It's like, wait, weren't you fine with it? Anyhow, moving on. Lanza, the other Strider 4. 55 people said he was forgettable. I remember taking off from the aircraft carrier on the final mission and seeing some guy named Lanza in the corner with a picture next to his name saying, I wish I could go up with you, Trigger, but a wounded pilot with a dinged-up plane would only slow you down. And I'm like, I'm taking off, and just like I imagine my pilot waving out the window as he flies away from the carrier, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, 0 people were able to say they loved him. Commander McKinsley, I guess you would call him the warden of Spare Squadron. How do you feel about the commander?
Annoying. I agree with most of the people.
Annoying, but he was supposed to be annoying. I remember in Mission 10 when you were supposed to escort him to the front lines, I failed the mission once, and AWACS Bandog says, transport plane down, not that we lost much. Like, not that we lost anything of importance. I was just kind of like, damn. Wow.
Yeah, that's a good Easter egg there.
Yeah.
That, like...
Not even the AWACS likes the command... Like, he's not even a prisoner, and he doesn't like the commanding officer.
I feel like if the developers saw this poll, they would feel happy that people thought that he was annoying, because
that was his role.
That kind of tells you he's supposed to be.
Interestingly, though, 10 people said they loved him, which again is more than the princess. What the heck happened with the princess? I don't know what people were expecting with the princess, but I'll stop talking about the princess now. Kei Nagase as Pilgrim 1. How did you feel about her presence? Because on one hand, I feel like the Ace Combat community thinks that every good Ace Combat game has a Kei Nagase reference. I don't think Zero has one though. But either way, we can all agree that's probably wrong what I just said. But either way, we can all agree that Kei Nagase is all over the place in the Ace Combat series. So it's not really a surprise that she's here, but how did you feel about her being, like, in the final monologue, I guess you could say? Like, you know, she's in a spaceship, kind of, you know, what she was with Harling to do, and she's returning, and you don't get to see her, but she's honoring the pilot who reopened the space elevator. How did you feel?
Put loved.
Loved?
Passion.
Alright. Why is that?
Because it's Nagase.
Because it's Nagase?
Yeah.
I thought she was passable. I think that's what I voted for. She's fine. Alright. Last of the characters. We spent a long time on the characters, but we're almost done. This is where we get into the most interesting statistic in the game, in my opinion. AWACS Skykeeper, the first AWACS you have. A lot of people said he was forgettable. It's passable. Some people said above average. A couple people said loved. Some people said annoying. He was fine. He was more people liked the first very forgettable AWACS that in my opinion, like the most you really get out of him is in Mission 4, where he just keeps monologuing about how much he loves the president, which is pretty much, you know, bad writing speak.
Foreshadowing.
Bad writing speak for president's gonna die. Any hoot. Yeah, more people loved the first AWACS than the princess. AWACS Bandog. This is the most interesting statistic in the game for me. Because other than AWACS Longcaster, let's go ahead and sort loved with a passion in ascending order. If we scroll down to who had the most votes for most loved character, AWACS Bandog reigns supreme at 50%. 50% of people loved Bandog with a passion. He was only present for a couple missions, harassed you through almost the entirety of them, really didn't provide much to the overall plot of the war other than killing off some minor supporting characters. He was the most loved character. Only one person said he was forgettable.
Look at the weighted average.
Yes, I will make that point. Sort in descending order. Nope, actually, I thought I sorted in descending order. Never mind. Oh wait.
That's total again. That's total again.
Thanks. Alright, descending order. AWACS Longcaster overall had the most votes swaying toward the liked side than Bandog.
The annoying category.
Yeah, but let's be honest again, that's probably part of his character design, Bandog.
Yeah.
But AWACS Bandog was more loved technically than Longcaster, Mihai. I find it weird that, again, Wiseman, I didn't expect him to come up. He's number 4 on the list of most liked character. But if you look at Princess, she's below Hujin, Dr. That Tabloid, who some people would only consider a supporting character, and even Fullban, again, like, he has more love going his way, but I guess it weighs more to the left. But Longcaster is the most liked character. I liked AWACS Longcaster. I feel like he's one of the better AWACSs in Ace Combat. You didn't like him?
I don't really remember the AWACS in Ace Combat 5.
Oh, well, there was Thunderhead.
Oh yeah,
Thunder
yeah,
Blockhead.
he's pretty good though. Never mind.
Never mind. I feel like
Yeah.
Ace Combat Zero had a pretty weak AoX, other than, you know, the last scene where he says, "Come on home,
Oh yeah, I
Demon
mixed
Lord."
up Ace Combat 5 and 7.
Okay.
He's just kind of your hype man. It feels like in Ace Combat 0.
Yeah. Not even your hype man, just kind of telling you when there's a missile or something, or something like that.
In the last mission, he's definitely your hype man in the final
Oh
mission.
yeah, he's definitely upping you up. Anyway, enough about Ace Combat Zero. Ace Combat 7. We've spent a lot of time on single player characters. Moving on. Alright. Multiplayer. This is a rough subject for a lot of people. 7 people said it was not worth including whatsoever. 8 people said it is an annoyance to play. 19 said it was neither good nor bad. 62 said has a good foundation, but it needs more to it, and I think we all know what it needs. Nolan, say the words
Co-op.
loud and proud.
Co-op.
There it is. And only 4 people said it was almost always enjoyable. More people said it was not worth including than people who said it's almost always enjoyable. However,
there should be another category, almost always enjoyable with friends.
With friends, that's right. We could go into a story about MiG-21 with gun pods in a flight of 3, but that's a meme you viewers can find out for yourself. I enjoyed the game most in blank. I was tempted to reword this. 6% said it was in the first section of the game. I put in parentheses as Mage Squadron. 28% the middle of the campaign as Spare Squadron. 62% said the end of the campaign as Strider Squadron. I wanted to reword this because I kind of wanted to split it into like thirds. Like I'd probably keep, the first couple missions as Mage Squadron, leave that the way it is, then extend Spare Squadron into, say, the Battle of Farbanti, and then call the end of the game post-Battle of Farbanti. I don't know how that would change the results, but overall we can see that people would mostly agree that the quality of missions gets more fun as the game goes on. Overall, I think we can agree with that. Interestingly enough, 4 people said the game was most enjoyable in virtual reality.
Well, I think it's a completely different experience.
That's true. I don't have VR. Nolan does. Tell us what you for those who don't have Ace Combat or PlayStation VR, what is it like?
I also go to school to fly planes, so sometimes I feel like I should be feeling turbulence, but I'm not.
Okay.
It's weird.
Was turbulence not include? Because turbulence is obviously, if you've flown in any mountain range in single player, you know that turbulence is kind of nuts. But you say it is in VR?
No.
It's not present in VR.
Motion sick.
What was that?
I would definitely get motion sick.
Would definitely get motion sick. All right, regardless. And I think the most interesting thing you said to me about VR was, do not fly how you normally do in Ace Combat. You will immediately get motion sick.
Yeah, I used the controller instead of the flight stick because I had trouble setting up the flight stick for some reason. That's probably...
But either way, we can pretty much say that using a PlayStation controller is very useful for being very aggressive in a fighter jet.
Yes.
And how did that work out for you? Say again, sorry?
When you do a Cobra in VR, it's... oof.
Bring a bucket?
Yeah.
Bring a bucket, alright. Either way, I think VR, a lot of people probably needed a reason to warrant buying VR, and would you say that this is probably one of the better VR experiences?
I have 3 VR games, and they're all pretty equal, I would say, but if I were to rank, I have Doom VR, Drive Club VR, and Ace Combat 7. And I would say graphically, Ace Combat 7 is the best. And story-wise, probably Doom.
Well, Doom actually... 3 missions is kind of hard to fit a story into, but on that note, 4 people out of 100 said that, those 3 missions were their most fun they had.
You are Mobius 1, and it's completely different. Like, it's different from the other Ace Combats.
Okay. Alright, let's move on. Story in detail. This is probably a good time to mention that I am planning on having a second poll. A lot of people were disappointed to see that I didn't mention X or I didn't bring up Y, something along those lines. I'm planning on having a second poll. I didn't realize that I was going to get this much response, but next weekend I will put up a poll, and on that survey we will have, the questions will be more niche, talking about specific plot events, character descriptions, etc. Anyhow, 10 people said that the story was everything they ever wanted. Blue is 27%. Not what I expected, but I liked what I got. A lot of people here, 43% in the yellow, said it could have been better if things were written differently. That's not to say bad, but definitely room for improvement, significantly. Light blue, 9 people said a letdown, but not the worst thing ever. 2 people said so flawed / disappointing, it made me mad. 9 people had their own little response to give. Let's take a look at them, because that's actually a lot of responses for other. And actually, because of how many responses there are to other, that's part of why I wanted to have a more niche survey, is because it's hard to just kind of sum up the story in one click of the button. Let's see what they had to say. It was what I was expecting, but I would have liked a little bit more lore / exposition on some topics. One guy says, makes no sense. 10 through 15 is dead. Story only comes back at mission 16. I didn't feel the story. It kind of felt your character was ordered around from battle to battle while having no real personal purpose. Pacing is rushed during the final third of the game. More time, cutscene / missions, might have shed more light on the side stories, Rose's character, the Avril story, etc. Had good elements, but felt like links and some other explanations were cut. More focus on characters other than Avril would have also been good, even though I liked her. I actually had low expectations for the story, and sure, there were loads of flaws, but it was more enjoyable than I expected. Didn't much care for the story. Just about what I expected, a bunch of silly and dramatic nonsense. It's great, and I wish there was more of it. Let's be honest, this is a vast array of opinions in the other category. And that's why I think that Ace Combat 7 is probably the most controversial release, just because you have polar opposite opinions and you can see where both sides are coming from. Nolan, do you have any opinions on if you like the people who left comments, we can actually comment more on, as opposed to the statistics here.
Well, I'll say what I put. It was everything I wanted, which was an Ace Combat game.
You think you were just really struggling for a new Ace Combat release?
Yeah, but I even think it depends on how you thought the game was going to be going in. Like, if you had high expectations, you're probably... I
feel like this user here, just about what I expected, a bunch of silly and dramatic nonsense. That's kind of what Ace Combat is. It's kind of over the top, it's a little bit over dramatic, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. But overall, he probably, I don't know what he voted, but I could view it. I don't think I want to bother with that, though. Overall, it doesn't really matter if, whether or not you feel like your character has a personal purpose, or if the supporting cast got enough time, or if the missions are dead or fun, or if there's lore exposition. Overall, I think we can agree that a good Ace Combat story is just one that takes place in the strange real universe, and it's a little bit over the top sometimes. Whether or not it's good or bad is just a matter of personal preference. At the end of the day, we can look at the story and say it's definitely an Ace Combat story. And the final question.
Here we go.
How does Skies Unknown stand with other titles? This is kind of the ultimate deciding factor to how good is Ace Combat 7. How do people compare it to the most recent, or I guess this is really all of the other canon Ace Combat games that have been released, is that right? Other than probably a couple outliers, like I know our little brother also played Assault Horizon Legacy on, what was that, the DS?
I don't know.
Apparently it's fun in some ways, and they fixed Assault Horizon in some other ways, but let's go ahead and sort this in terms of... Hang on, that's not how I sorted. Let's go ahead and sort it in terms of total score. Sort ascending. The least liked game, Ace Combat, or not least liked, but doesn't stand up well. That's fair. Good point. Not a lot of people probably had a PlayStation Portable. Then again, it also is pretty forgettable. Ace Combat X. Nolan, you liked Ace Combat X, didn't you?
I really liked Ace Combat X.
All right. Yeah, it was fun. If you haven't played Ace Combat X, there's an emulator. You don't need a PlayStation Portable. Is good. Ace Combat 6, second on the list. Ace Combat 7, right below the Holy Trinity. But here's the thing that's going to bother Nolan. Nolan, what's your favorite Ace Combat game?
Ace Combat 4.
Why is that? Just so we know, know a little bit more.
It's the most realistic.
And as a guy who flies planes and wants to fly fighter jets, that's important to you.
It's probably the most realistic you can get with an arcade game.
Right, that's a good point.
Like, it's still an arcade game, but...
Here's something that might bother you. Ace Combat 7, for a couple hours, was ahead of Ace Combat 4. How does that make you feel?
I feel like Ace Combat 4 is an older game, so not everyone got a chance to play it.
I would actually argue the opposite. Ace Combat 5 is probably the most played, but Ace Combat 4 is a close competitor. I don't know the statistics of it, but to each their own. Ace Combat 0 comes up decently significantly ahead of Ace Combat 4. Ace Combat 5, let's be honest, there's a reason why they put the HD remaster alongside the pre-order bonus. A lot of people like Ace Combat 5. Personally, I thought Ace Combat 0 is the pinnacle of an Ace Combat story and gameplay mixed in. Nolan, obviously, you mentioned yours, but Ace Combat 7, it's pretty close. If we look at the score here, it's only hanging a couple points below Ace Combat 4. Overall, people had in general, there's some harsh words floating around Ace Combat 7, but statistically, it's up there with the big boys.
Well, look at Ace Combat 5 real quick for number 6. What?
Number 6? What do you mean?
They rated it the worst Ace Combat.
Oh, in terms of... Actually, yeah, that's a good... No. This order is reversed here.
No, number 6.
Oh, six people said it was the worst one out of the list?
Yeah.
Hey, to each their own.
That's disrespect.
Disrespect, is it?
Yeah, I put it at 4.
Put it at 4.
I know that.
What order did you give? Let me hear.
Ace Combat 4 is number 1. Ace Combat 0 is number 2. 7 is 3 in my... That was a close one. Mm-hmm. And then 5.
Do you feel like you're disrespecting the Holy Trinity by putting Skies Unknown above the Unsung War?
No, the middle of the mid-game for Ace Combat 5 is dragged out.
I feel like the middle of Ace Combat 5 is when you... I feel like the middle of Ace Combat 5 is when it lets you act as a regular fighter squadron doing war things, not specialized tasks.
I don't know. I feel like the story kind of drags on a little bit, especially...
That's fair.
The early mid.
But I'm surprised that you didn't like the more normal missions, because Ace Combat 4 is your favorite game, and I would argue that most of Ace Combat 4 is, quote, normal missions.
Well, yeah, it's a different game. It's
okay. So the gameplay decides how worthwhile the missions are.
Ace Combat 5, you're supposed to have the wild missions, but then it's well, why am I... It feels slow compared to the rest of the
I see. Okay. Anyway, I think it's a good place to leave off. Go ahead and leave a reply either on the YouTube video, on the Reddit thread, or share it with a friend and get them involved, and keep your eyes posted for the second survey. We'd like to hear your opinions on the more niche aspects of Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. Take it easy, guys.